Okay, we are recording now. Hello, everyone. My name is Muzamil Putra, and we are here with Iman and Fira. So, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, hi, my name is Fira. I am a student in UM and I am also a content creator for a few companies. I'm 22 this year.
Okay, thank you, Fira. So, let's start with the first question. The COVID-19 pandemic has made people to be more caring. Do you agree with this statement, and why?
Can I partially agree or do I have to have a finite answer?
Yes, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, so I have to partially agree because we did have kita jaga kita, the whole situation and all. But I also have to like partially not fully agree because not everyone was in support for that. But the majority of Malaysians who actually have empathy, they do become more caring of others, if not before. So putting on the mask, not just because of the law, but because you want to protect yourself and protect other people for that, it may not be comfortable, but that is what they do. That is a sign to be more caring lah for me.
Uh, sorry.
Habis dah, habis dah.
Oh, dah. Uh,
You want long
oh,
answers or short answers?
lagi sebenarnya. Okay. 2 minit. Kira macam lebih kurang 2 minit lah.
Okay. Okay, so the kita jaga kita, rakyat jaga rakyat, things like that do show that people tend to be more caring, especially after the pandemic. But I have to partially agree because some people they do not support that notion because they believe that people who need money like that they take advantage of these acts. And putting on that mask that I said before, putting on a mask, I feel like it shows that you care about other people because prior to this, nobody would think that you wear your mask to protect yourself. But now people take the vaccine, people put on their mask because they care for others and don't want the virus to mutate and affect their family or other people's family.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's good. Okay, now for the second question, how did the COVID-19 pandemic affect our country negatively?
Okay. How did it affect negatively? I believe it affected the economy the most, other than our healthcare. It almost collapsed because there were too many people at one point, and the MAEPS quarantine center was overflowing. There were a lot of TikToks showing how their lives were turned upside down. Domestic violence in homes skyrocketed. So I believe these are one of the big factors that were impacted by the COVID-19, especially the economy part, because as a seller, an online seller, I experienced a positive influx in orders, but I sympathize with the people who have physical stores as there were so many people that had to shut down their businesses, a lot of shopping malls going empty. Like the curve did not survive the pandemic and it has survived decades. So that is one of the big negative influence of the COVID-19 lah.
Can you elaborate more about the domestic violence point that you say?
Okay, so the domestic violence part is, if I'm not mistaken, the bit where I read on, like, there's a care line for domestic violence. It received a lot of calls because everyone had to be quarantined, right?
Mm.
So help was not as fast as it should be because there were too many people, and the workforce was like limited. So people had to take turns to go into shifts and all. And when you know how badly it affected the financial status of each family, right? A lot of people
Mm.
lost their jobs. Until today, a lot of people are losing their jobs.
Mm.
So financial crisis turns feelings into anger because it is something out of your control. And when you have to quarantine with the problem, like say for example, your husband used to work for a shop. The shop had to close down. Then the husband's stressed. The husband doesn't know where to go. So they tend to release their anger onto somebody. And this, I read this from the Caroline. I can't seem to remember where.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on with the third question. how did the COVID-19 pandemic affect our country positively?
Okay. Positively, I would say the implementation of online things. Like previously there were not a lot of cashless kiosks or online registration for SSM. I remember prior to this SSM you had to go and register and cap jari and all at the center, but now you can do it online. Renewal can be done online as it should have been done. And then classes, they were able to be done remotely. And now we have, like in my university, we've introduced hybrid classes, which means uh, every class there will be a recorded lecture because there are students who are 100% online. So that's great because if you're sick from COVID, or basically if you're sick prior to COVID, I don't think recorded classes were a thing, but now even if you're sick you can still catch on. Another one, a positive impact, is the digital literacy amongst people increasing because they are forced to order online since they can't go during the pandemic. So it positively impacted especially the online sellers, but the consumers, perhaps they may learn a thing or two to make payments online, FPX, bank transfer, things like that.
Thank you. I definitely agree on that. So let's start with the fourth question. People are more sympathetic before the pandemic, not after. Do you agree with that statement, and why?
Can you elaborate more on sympathetic? Sympathetic for what?
Sympathetic about everything. Let's say that when people say they have no money to buy groceries, people tend to buy them groceries for the sake of helping them. Um, that kind of sympathetic. I am really sorry about this. Aku geram.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No,
Okay,
no.
kita.
I feel like I understand your question already.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
There you go.
I mean, like people tend to help. Um, People tend to help poor people before the pandemic, not after. That's what I meant by sympathetic.
Okay, wait. People are more sympathetic. Oh, okay. Okay. Actually, I quite disagree with this because though we did have like booths for if you need this, you can take as much as you want. But mostly, I personally, from my experience, I have never seen it in real life. But now after COVID, there's always these kiosks where people, especially in supermarkets or grocery stores, people would put boxes of things that they would like to donate, and anyone can just take them. So I feel like this shows that we have an inclination towards sympathy for other people after the pandemic because it was then people had the time to be with their family, and especially with Kita Jaga Kita, the privileged are able to understand, wow, some people tak boleh nak beli nasi pun, tak mampu nak beli nasi. So I believe when these kiosks for food banks or like pads, they are given for free, I feel like the pandemic really helped in terms of opening our eyes to understanding the other parts of the community that we are not in.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the fifth question. In what way did the pandemic change our work style?
Work style, okay. So personally, I am able to see that hybrid and remote jobs in Malaysia were not as common as today, because previously I know the go-to jobs for after SPM or like after diploma is always looking to be a tutor, or maybe basically physical jobs lah, not just basically tutor, but like you have to be there, you have to be present to work, to get a job, to get money. But now I realize that I like to go to LinkedIn and I like to scroll jobs just because. And there's a lot of remote and hybrid jobs, which I am now working as. I am working hybrid. I only go to the office 2 times a week, which is a blessing lah, because you not only save money on fuel, you save time. So, yes, more hybrid jobs are seen from my experience, and you can actually look it up. More plus companies do save more on not having to maintain an office. Hmm.
I agree. I agree. Let's start with the sixth question. How should people make a decision during the pandemic era? Logically or emotionally? And why?
Hmm. Wait, I have to think a bit. Okay, this is my personality. Do Are you familiar with the Myers Briggs personality test, MBTI?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, uh, my trait is the commander, which is ENTJ. So I heavily rely on logic. So this is based on my perspective and personality. I feel like when we make decisions based on emotions, yes, sometimes you do have to sympathize with people, but you have to think with logic. There is always a boundary because emotion is something that you cannot control at some time, but logic is always um, fact. Logic is something that you can see the rationale of it. Emotion is different to other people. To him, maybe it's okay. To you, maybe it's all right. To me, it's maybe horrible. So you can't agree on something, but if you focus on the logic, then you can decide what is the best cause to do something. And if you're deciding a big thing for during a pandemic, which is one of the most stressful events in 2020 until now, I feel like if you're basing your decisions based on emotions, it will cause unprecedented circumstances because people do get emotional in stressful times, and COVID has been stressful. So I don't think it's smart to make a decision using your emotions. Definitely not.
Thank you. I agree on that.
Mm.
Okay, let's start with the seventh question. How should people make a decision in this post pandemic era? Logically or emotionally? And why?
I will stay by my answer. It is always logic. Maybe it's because of my personality, because I feel like when you get involved your emotions in making decisions, it's when you start making the wrong decisions, because you tend to weigh out. For example, you tend to weigh out their feelings, his feelings. What about him? What about her? But what about you, right? You have your own logic. You want the best for you, but maybe it's not with the best interest of everyone, but it's your life. So, of course, you have to follow your logic. If you follow your emotions, like sometimes I know your head is telling you this, but your heart is telling you otherwise. But I'm always one to trust my head, because everything I do is with my head, not my heart. Of course, I'm living with my heart, but like, you get what I mean, right? It's not my heart, it's my gut.
Yes, yes.
So you can trust your gut, but above all, your brain is where all of it is. So you need to think. If I smoke, let's say, if I smoke, do I choose? I do feel happy, but is it healthy? Macam you have to weigh out which one. You have to choose your struggle. Like, for example, I give you another example. You are stressed because you have to work, but you are stressed with having no money if you don't work. You're happy, but you don't have money. You're stressed, but you have money. Pick your struggle. I would rather be stressful and have money because I don't have to chatu my makanan every day and I get to eat my coffee with bread.
I agree because if you don't have money, you're gonna be stressed anyway, right?
Yes.
And okay, definitely agree on that. Yeah, let's start with the last question. What is the one thing that happened during the lockdown that you wish to stay and why?
Hmm. What if there's none? Hold on. Okay. Probably remote learning. I do love to meet my friends. It's just that for studies, I prefer to be done online because Currently, I live quite far, not quite far lah, but like kalau jam, it's 30 minutes. Kalau tak jam, it's 10 minutes. That's the difference in KL. So, I have to commute, especially in the morning, kalau 8 a.m. classes. Oh my God. I have to commute and it's so stressful. But yeah, remote learning is so easy because you don't even have to shower to attend your classes. But I know the downside is you are less focused because you tend to do other things, right? But as long as you get the job done, you get what I mean? Macam you can read the slides when you're doing the assignments. Hmm. So remote learning is definitely a go-to. Definitely a go-to, especially because now I'm working and I'm doing freelance and all. It really helps if I don't have to be there during class because sometimes it's just discussion and then wait for other people to finish discussion. And then what do you do? If I'm at home, I can do other things, you know? Macam if I'm at home, I can clean my room until other groups have done their discussions. But now in class, I have to wait. Then what? That's time and I value my time.
Yes, I definitely agree on that. Because the lockdown, it shows that we don't actually need to be in somewhere. We don't actually need to print assignment. It shows that we
Yeah,
can just do everything online.
right.
We
Because
can
if
still get the job done.
correct, if you have to print the assignments, not only you waste your money, you don't help the environment. Plus, what's the difference between a hardcover and a not and a soft copy? You can read the same contents, right?
Yeah, yes.
See?
We don't need the binding.
Yes.
Yes, right?
And then you have to
Okay.
commute to the lecturer's office.
Mm.
Mm.
Even the consultation, we can do it online
Yes.
through text messages.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, you get me. You get me. You get me.
definitely get you. Okay, I believe that would be all. I'm gonna stop recording. It's been